Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let's go ahead and get started. Today is Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022. We're going to do a quick review, probably hang out here for a little bit, at least for about 60 minutes or so. So about 30 minutes after open, see if we can get a trade in. First things I want to go over with you are going to be the SPY, then we'll look at the ES futures. On the screen, this is our trading view look. I may pull up Thinkorswim as well. Over here on the right hand side, these are just automated alerts that we have that are for futures. So just know that this has nothing to do with what I'm showing you here. All right, let's go ahead and look at SPY. I'm going to run you through several different time frames because we need to get the bigger picture. We put this out probably about 45 minutes ago. This is the blueprint for this morning. What I'm looking at right here is a 4-hour chart. In high insight, I will tell you that price is pushed up over the cloud. Every 4-hour step basically has come back into the cloud and found support there. At some time, we will not find support there. So just be cautious. There are a lot of different things that have pointed towards us getting lighter on our allocation. So a lot of the trades that I have right now are actually paid for. They're rolls into further out of the money strikes. Okay. So we'll kind of talk about that and what I'm looking for as far as today goes. So SPY is pulling back here on the 4H, pulling back pretty close to the cloud. We have some formation here at inside and up. So we have this entry on reclaim. I want to show you what this looks like. If you guys are out there following me, then you'll know that we like to wait for the reclaim. I don't want to take a blind trade because that blind trade could turn into something that we do not want to be in. So let's go ahead and zoom in. If for some reason price does pull back into this entry on reclaim, if it keeps digging in and never goes back above, we're just going to ignore that trade. Okay, if anything, I'll start to look to go short if it looks like everything else wants to come in. All right. However, if we pull in like the last several days and then we start to see buyers show up, bids come in, we reclaim this area, then I'm looking to go long and I'm looking for price to fill this gap up here. Okay. That's the first thing. These levels here for right now are 444.78 by 441.19. It's pretty wide. Just know that. Up here towards the gap fill, you got your line in the sand coming in at around 449.77. So again, if I find buyers here at or around the cloud, we could see a push up into a gap fill. For bulls, obviously you need to take out yesterday's high and then build a base above there. Let me go ahead and zoom in one more time. Let's go ahead and put this line here, just like that. If we do indeed fill the gap, if we break the highs, that's going to be this line here. What you want to see is that what was resistance then turns into support. We come back and fill that and then make higher highs off of there. Let's go ahead and turn on the trendy edges so you can kind of see what's going on as far as this is concerned. So this is where we got long, which is down here. This was a very nice buy-in. We were adding into equity all the way down to here and then trimming to the upside and then buying options as well and a few names that we really liked. And you guys can see that out there as well. All right. So again, this pattern is very important and I don't want to leave it right away. I want you to really soak it in. On the way up, in most cases, especially in this market, we take the stairs up and the elevator down. Okay. Notice you will see this pattern develop on a 4-hour chart. Up, sideways, up, sideways, sideways, up, sideways, up, sideways, up. All right. Now, many cases, what we're looking for is a trade from the edge to the edge. All these edges are found on different time frames. Okay. So the one we are working on now are these purple edges. My target for right now is 452.69, 452.75 in here. Again, we need to find support here. Let's go ahead and go into the day. This is very important as well. Now, pattern recognition. Go back and count the days up versus the days down. In most cases, you're only looking somewhere between 2 and 4 days that you have a cycle up and down. Now, we stayed in a down cycle for quite some time. Notice that the edges came into play almost every single time we had a move down. This is where we wanted to get long for that move up. Okay. Notice that the cloud on the daily was resistance so many times. One thing I want to point out is this yellow level here. Okay. This is around the 618, and we continue to have a hard time here. Okay. So if we do break above the edge, I expect potential lower highs here. All right. We're going to go into the skew here in a minute, and I'm going to show you a couple things after we get done looking at some stocks of why we're pumping the brakes here. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weekly. Why do I take you through all of these? Because everyone is different. Not everyone is trading 2-minute candles, right? We have some people who like to swing. I like to have a nice mix of all of that. All right. And I need, in order to be a good trader, I need to understand all the time frames when I'm coming in for game day, right? So you got to put your game face on. You got to get all these things ready. And what I see over here on the weekly is we have what's called a continuation candle. Notice that we have this orange dotted line. This is just TradingView's way of letting you know, hey, this is where pre-market is right now. So it is down. You can open up right here and just see that we're down about $2.26. All right. All right. So continuation candle, what does that mean? All that simply means is this candle here, that the next week will stay above. And if for some reason we get 3 into the upper trendy edge here, then you could see these 3 soldiers, right? Basically pushing up into the supply zone up here. And that's what our trendy edges are there for, to identify supply and demand. Okay. So demand, supply. What am I looking for on this? Well, if we go inside, it would have to break down below the previous body of this candle. If we break down in there, we're just on an inside week. As long as we stay above that base, all right, around 444.60, then we continue up towards these targets that I've given you. All right. Again, 452.69 and around 457.19. That is SPY. Let me take you back over really quick. This is the 4-hour chart. We're getting closer into the cloud. There is a possibility, folks, that we do not even get to the green box here. That's okay. All right. Because I'm net long at this point. All right. But if for some reason we dip in just a little bit deeper, then there is a possibility we find buyers in here and then fill that gap. All right. Let's go ahead and go to our ES futures. All right, ES futures, just because you trade them does not mean you cannot use this chart. Matter of fact, this is my go-to. All right. ES futures, every 10 points, looking for about $1. Okay. $1 in the SPY. ES futures, every 10 points, about $1 in the SPY. Very straightforward. So if for some reason, this is my expected range here, right? And we continue to break down below the cloud and into this inside and up and my expected range. And by the way, right, Trendy members, you guys all know this. The expected range has almost been on point every single day for every day of the week and so forth. All right. And all I'm using here are edges and formations of candles. Okay. So notice that I'm pointing towards the upper edge and I'm pointing towards the lower inside and up here. Okay. So if we do the math, if you look at current price, which is at 44.81, and we need to pull down, let's say to 44.40, that's 40 points, you could see a $4 drop in the SPY if we hit my targets down here to the downside. Okay. So again, expected range. So the inside and up out of here, if you would, if you guys have some tools, whether you're using Thinkorswim, it doesn't matter. You could come over here and grab this box, okay? And you could just put a box right around this area here, all right? And that's going to be confluent with our SPY, all right? So if we start to pull into here, again, looking for buyers. Now, I like to teach futures, and if you're a futures trader and you're new, then, you know, basically you need to speak to your broker, look at the risk But for me, I like to use templates. So in this area, if we start to reclaim, I like a 10 to 30 on MES. And on ES, I like anywhere from 2.5 points of stop to 5 points. But I also have my auto alerts over here that let me know where I want to place my stops if I choose to take one of my signals here on futures. Okay? Yeah, no problem, man. So on the ES and the SPY, yeah, let me go ahead and I'm gonna doctor this up for you a little bit. We've already hit those targets, so I'm gonna put this right here, and I'm gonna pull this target down. There you go, just like that. So let me go ahead and share that with you here. And that's going to be your ES futures chart. Okay. All right, just updating you guys there. And the SPY should be in focus, daily focus. Okay. That's where that chart is. All right. All right, so next thing I want to do here is, again, just show you very quickly on a daily chart what we're looking at. All right, inside day. And the way that you want to approach today is to understand what sort of sentiment you need to have. And listen to me, I've been doing this for over 10, 15, well, actually probably 13 to 15 years now. And when we are inside, you need to have the right mindset going into today. It's a if this, then that scenario. If price breaks over yesterday's body candle, then we can resume the uptrend. Until then, everything is choppy, sideways to down until we break above that body. Now, it does not mean we can't buy the dip, and that's why I create the green box here. All right? But again, overall, this is a sideways to down day until we can go bid above yesterday's body and high. All right? All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at Tesla. This has been a great winner here in the room, and I'm sure all around. We put this out on the weekend, and this is how I like to do it here at Trendy Trading for the most part, is give a heads up on targets, where price is going, where we want to enter, and so forth. In my opinion, that's the only way to trade. Okay. Here we could see, I left this on here for you. I did take some of the white lines off. I'm going to clean it up here now that we've already gone over it. All right. So we had this 321 support that we talked about. We came right in there. We pushed up, and guess what? I gave you new targets out there, and I told you yesterday anywhere from 995 into 1010. And you could see we pushed up into 997 and then pulled back. This was the red box that I gave to my team here. All right. Some traders were looking at going short, and I specifically said if you're looking to go short, I would wait for this red box here. Okay. Even though I had this target, this is the box that made more sense to me. And if we go over into the left and go to a daily chart, Trendy Trading already has that sell signal. So basically this red arrow here, we want to trade up into that red arrow, and then you want to take caution. But let's talk about what's going on with Tesla. All right. So with Tesla, this is pretty straightforward as well. Just like the SPY and the ES, we're taking the stairs. Boom. Okay. And notice every time we keep getting buy signals. Okay. Guess what's happening? We have some divergence here. This candle was pretty big compared to all the other candles that led this trend up from the 4-hour. Okay. When we have a candle that moves that much and that fast, we do not fill orders as they would teach you in supply and demand. Basically, the way that you can look at this in layman terms is that they got too excited, right? They got going too quickly. And when you go too quickly, you sometimes leave the guys that really wanted to buy something, you leave them back here, right? And so when we run out of buyers, then price is going to remember to come back into this level where we have this buyer just sitting here waiting, and we're going to fill those orders. So that's all you're seeing here. And once you understand how the market works, you should not be panicked. Matter of fact, you should be buying at levels that make sense, all right? And selling at levels that make sense. First, you got to learn them. And then you wait patiently to see if these buyers, they're strong enough to keep price continuing to the upside, all right? So with Tesla, in my opinion, this is right here support at or around the cloud. And the top is going to be that, those bids that let you know, hey, price is going to continue up. So what do you do here? I'm going to tell you a secret. You don't do anything. You basically take a box or you take alerts and you set them up and you come down into your support, into your resistance, and then you create your little box, which we've already done here. Give me 1 second. And I've already created a box that says neutral. Basically, I don't want to do anything in this box. Now, if you are a trader who needs to, take 5 to 10 trades a day, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because we have something for you as well. In this case, I would much rather buy down here towards low on the curve. Low on the curve just means as we get closer to my support that I'm teaching you about. All right, this is where I'd buy. If we break above here, I want to see a high, a pullback, and another high before I do anything there. All right. So what I did personally is I did very well all the way up, and then I kept rolling. And as we approached the red box, then I did something really silly, as in not silly like I messed up. I just went way out of the money. All right. Because I didn't expect Tesla to keep running after it hit the red box. Okay. So I went way out of the money on the call side, and I went way out of the money on the short side, okay? And what I did was butterflies on the downside, just in case, literally like super small for potential 20x payout or something like that. And then to the upside, we just did way out of the money. I think I did a debit spread on that side. I have to go back and look, all right? So that's what's going on with Tesla this morning. Now, before we move on, 2 hour was the go-to on Tesla, okay? Look at this cloud, folks. This has been the cushion, all right? Every time, 2 hour cloud. It loves this 2 hour cloud right now. Notice when I go from the 4 hour to the 2 hour, it creates less risk. And what I mean is if you decide to go long right here, well, then your risk is right down here towards the top of that cloud around 970. And current price, as we speak, is at 980. All right? So things are happening exactly what we planned. All right? Now, a lot of people are saying, on days like this, what you'll notice is that oil futures, all right, and energy, fertilizers, things like that are starting to move, which is true. Right? It's almost like this continuous pattern of going from those into, the market itself. So I want to show you oil futures. I do love trading oil futures. We have blueprints here as well. And you could see that we're continuing to move up here. Now, what I told my team is it's the daily that I'm concentrated on. All right. So we came right into the green box. This was a buying zone, and you can see it's worked very well. Matter of fact, if you took this trade, you're looking at 97 all the way up until about 114 now. Okay, that's pretty incredible. That's if you don't know oil futures, it's about 16 grand per contract from this box here. Now, this is the thing. If you're looking at the market and you're wondering, as long as oil futures go up, do we continue to pull back in the market? And that's kind of what we've seen. So you need to know, what is oil futures doing? All right. So really quick, inverted head and shoulders, very bullish pattern here. Okay. You can see that. Now I threw some Fibonacci's on it, and this is an inside and up, very powerful combination for whatever I'm looking at to continue moving up, as long as it stays above this area of 110.80. As long as we stay above 110.80, I'm looking for the move into this previous pivot here, which it's already taken out. And then I'm taking my cursor and moving over to the left and looking at this pivot, which is around 114 and some change, 114.80. Overall, I'm looking for this move up towards 618 at 116. All right. So you got that in the back of your head. Close your eyes and understand this. As long as oil is moving up here, it looks like the market wants to pull back a little bit. So if I know that oil could potentially move up to 116, it tells me that when I take you back into the ES futures, it still has some room to the green box. You see what I'm saying? All right. So there's a little bit of room on both sides of those. And all of that synergistically comes together. All right. All right, what do we want to look at as far as let's look at MOS. Okay, MOS is a really big deal. Why? Because you need to take into consideration the entire chart. Here we go. This is a quarterly chart, folks. If you don't know about the 38.2 when coming up from the downside, you need to know. Come here, spend $5 for 7 days, learn all you can. It's not a big deal, right? I think coffee literally is more expensive than that nowadays. Gas is more expensive than that, right? Anyways, this level, if we can hold over it, 66.75, notice we're at 66.35. We've had some problems there. We brought this to your attention 2 days ago. Once we break back above there and hold for a day, we could see a potential move up here towards 85. All right. Just need to build a base there. That's all. Right now, this should and stay resistance. But once it breaks and holds, again, check out MOS. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and look at the skew. I think this is really important. All these things are very important. You guys know that. Looking at the skew, check it out. All right, this was your skew update from over the weekend. Skew hit the risk on level and the market turned up. Keep in mind there were several other indicators that pointed for a base and possible move up, such as the lower monthly edges that I showed you earlier. All right, so this helped us to get long over the last 2 weeks. Okay, P-call. Everybody was on the short side. When everybody's on the short side and everybody on Twitter and any other platform, including your neighbors and taxi drivers, are telling you that everything's coming to an end, guess what? I encourage you to come look at the skew, look at all these charts that I'm showing you, put it all together, and guess what? Fear does pay sometimes, okay? Meaning, take the fear, look at all these indicators. It doesn't mean that you automatically buy just because everyone's scared, folks. All right, you got to put all these charts together. And in this chart, it was telling you that the majority of the market was scared. All right, and it was telling you that we were coming into longer term demand. And here we are today. All right, a lot of people missed out on this trade, right? A lot of people had a hard time buying the dip. Best thing you can do is turn off the news. Don't worry about all of these, things like Jerome speaking today. Let me tell you something, that every single one of these catalysts, and I've been doing this for a long time, is a short-term change and trend. That's all it is. I mean, think about it. Think about that. Every time that you see FOMC or something come out, you usually get like this quick move. There's still support and resistance. Those levels hold, and then we start to continue in the direction that we need to go to. One very important thing before we move forward about, everybody wants to know, is the bottom in? What really defines whether or not this trend has been broken? I'm here to tell you, as far as the methodology that I use, okay, is that we are still in a down trend until we move over the golden Fibonacci, which is right here. All right, and it happens to be confluent with the trendy edge. Everybody understand that? As long as we stay under here and as close as we get to this, this is when we start to pump the brakes. There's no rush here. The market's going to be here Monday through Friday. All right. And if you trade futures Sunday night, we have so many opportunities to make money. All right. We don't have to be right. Stay humble, stay patient. Just know that we're closer to high on the curve. We're pulling back a little bit, and we still need this 45.41 level in order to continue to the upside. Okay. Right here, all we're doing right now is simply flagging, basing, creating some sort of value here going into today. Now, just real quick, Jerome, Fed Chair Powell, speaks at an annual conference, and this is actually not until this afternoon, not until 12:30. Okay, so not until 12:30. All right. I got ahead of myself. I said 8. I was looking at Market Watch and I see 8 a.m. But it's actually at 12:30. I don't think he's up this early. All right. Anyways, we're going to get started here in about 4 minutes. What I'm going to do is open up the SPY, just like I've done with you every morning. We're going to go to a smaller time frame. Now that we've gone through all the time frames, you should have a good idea what's going on. But really quick, 4 minutes to go. Let's go ahead and go through it just one more time. Weekly, continuation candle up. As long as we stay above the previous week's base, things are looking good. On the daily, we have actual buy signal here on the SPY. Okay. 4 hour, we're moving back into the cloud. Notice we came very close, and we have this little green box down here in case it wants to dip in a little bit. We'll be ready. Over here on a 5 minute, everybody knows we'll be using some trendy scripts. Okay, we'll be looking at the PMZ, pre-market zone. We'll be watching the cloud. Let's go ahead and go through the checklist. We have a line in the sand, 449.77. We're in the cloud. We're currently above the PMZ. Your risk right now is only 23 cents. I really like that. Okay, that means it's really tight for now. And then we want to take a look at the edges. This edge pretty much lined up, okay, with some buyers. You could find a nice relief bounce here. Remember this. Here's a plan. We break above the PMZ and the cloud, look for buy signals. We'll look to trade and fill that gap. If we break down, as long as price stays underneath this cloud, folks, it is in resistance, okay? And you want to trade it down all the way into this green box, okay? You can also do opening range breakout. I know a lot of you guys like to do that, ORB, okay? Very, very easy concept. Same thing with PMZ. It's pretty much the same thing, except we're using a little bit better values to figure out if we want to go long or short. Okay. So good luck to everybody. We have about 2 minutes before open. Watch these levels as we open. Again, I think we're just creating range into whatever Jerome has to say today. So good luck to everybody, and I'll check in with you here shortly.